and my organization, it's a proud privilege for us to be hosting you. And let me introduce myself. I'm Vipin Kumar. I'm the Chief Project Manager of RVNL, heading this project. I'm from Kanpur, did my graduation from IIT Kanpur 2003, joined Railways 2003. Since I'm a civil engineer, infrastructure was always a passion, and it's a good feeling that I'm still following my passion. And I, in particular, have a great affinity for people from defense because when I wrote my final exam and when I joined Railways, there was a period of 1 year, and I was in DRDO. I was at Institute of Armament and Technology, Pune. Khadakwasla was very nearby. Got a lot of friends there. We used to go to Singapore, and then I joined Railways, of course. And we are working once again. I've been in Railways now for I've completed 20 years of service in Railways, and I'm heading this project, which again is a lot of predominantly situated now in the defense area. So whatever we are doing, it's a proud privilege for us to share with you. I have dealt, so when I got this letter, I saw my questions, or rather I was a bit intrigued as to what would you be expecting of me, because you are defense guys, we are civilians, we are dealing with infrastructure. Obviously it would make sense if I talk to you about warfare tactics. So I'll do the talking on which I know the best, the infrastructure part. Sorry, I'll move this way. So since we have a very little time, and infrastructure is a vast subject in itself, so I have dealt it from the urban infrastructure, the policy approach, and in that also especially the metro, and in that I'll take you through my project, which is the Joka BBT Baat Metro project. I've introduced myself. Let me talk to you about my company. That's RVNL. It's Rail Vikas Nigam Limited. It's a very new company formed in 2003 under Ministry of Railways, but the journey has been exciting. This is where we were in 2014, and you can see where we are in 2024. The turnover has increased from 2,500 crores to 20,000 crores. The profit after tax PAT, which is the bottom line of any company, has risen from 157 crores to close to 1,500 crores. So it's almost 10 times jump in last 10 years. Till mostly in 2019, we were dealing with railway infrastructure only, but as of now, we have diversified to all kind of infrastructure into roadways also. I'm executing a road project also. We are into ports also. We are into overseas. We are doing projects in Maldives, and we are doing solar projects in Saudi Arabia. We are expanding like anything, and this next 25 years actually are going to be very, very exciting on infrastructure, let me tell you. The journey, actually speaking of journey of RVNL, I would say be it any individual, be it any organization, or be it a nation, the journey is very important. As our great nation, India, how has the journey been so far? I mean, it would make sense if I talk to you about what we were at independence, but yes, 1991 was a watershed year for us. That is when we launched the Rao Manmohan economic model. The economic reforms in India was unleashed. They were crisis-driven reforms, no doubt, but still very important. Just see, on the population front, yes, we have been productive, no doubt on that. But apart from that also, you see the GDP, we have grown from $0.27 trillion to $3.89 trillion. We have grown at a good rate of 7% recently. We were in 1990s, you must have read, we were what we were called the Hindu rate of growth. We were struggling at 3 to 4% of growth. Today, the life expectancy has increased, the literacy rate has increased, and human development also index, you can see there is an increment. For any journey, there are two questions one must ask. Is the direction of my journey correct? And is the pace of my journey right? Are we growing in the right direction? Are we growing at the right pace? Well, from this slide, it seems yes, we are doing everything right. But at the same time, if you just search on the Google, you know, the good figures that I showed you in the last slide, it also happens that we rank 134th in the Human Development Index. Ultimately, dollars is not everything. The GDP itself is not everything. We rank 126th in the Happiness Index. We rank 52 in the world in quality of life. And I think it's the quality of life, it's the happiness which is most important.
So this makes us ponder, again, the direction and the pace of our growth. You see the quality of life, air quality. In Delhi, if you're in Delhi, everybody is talking about air quality index. I mean, in Calcutta also you are talking about air quality index these days. Every city that we are talking about, and I've used the word urban, 35% of India's population today lives in urban areas, which will be to 50% by 2047. If 50% is living in cities by 2047, and already the cities are becoming unlivable, then we are doing something wrong, which we must rectify immediately. The personal safety environment and the Gini's coefficient, that is the social equity. Well, we have grown. You see the GDP has grown 14 times, but then the Gini's coefficient, which indicates inequity. So we are having, as kind of, I would say, islands of affluence amongst ocean of poverty. So Gini's coefficient is something, if you have 0, which means you're very equal, and if you have Gini's coefficient as 1, it means inequality. So higher the Gini's coefficient, more is the inequality. So we would like to have a lower Gini's coefficient and more of social equity. So based on that, if you see, we must move in a direction to have a more holistic, inclusive growth, which we call sustainable development. And this in mind, the government of India has laid out a vision and is on a mission to make India a developed nation by 2047, which we call Viksit Bharat 2047. Now, Viksit Bharat 2047 has multi-dimensional approach. I would be dealing only with the infrastructure point of view of that today. The vision Viksit Bharat 2047 talks about making India a developed country on the 100th year of the independence. We talk on the focus on sustainable growth, social equity, and global leadership. And it is inspired by a roadmap addressing infrastructure, economy, governance, and technology. If the economy has to grow at 7 to 8%, the infrastructure of the country must grow at 14% if you consider even the elasticity ratio as 0.5. That is what we say. The infrastructure must grow double the rate that economy has to grow. If you want to go somewhere, it is very important to assess as to where we are standing. And now, India has done well, there is no doubt about it, but we still have a lot of part to cover. You see the GDP, well, we are already in the 5th largest in terms of nominal GDP. And if we ever talk about the GDP in terms of purchasing power parity, we are 3rd largest now. And we are going to overtake, in terms of normal GDP, Germany and Japan very soon. And I will show you the Viksit Bharat. We are aiming to make India a $30 trillion economy by 2047. That's the aim. It is $3.9 trillion. So the aim is to achieve 10 times bigger economy, and that's the way you bring these people out of poverty. But we also have to ensure that this growth is more equitable, more holistic, more integral, and we have the social angle also in this growth. The population, well, the total fertility of, we don't need to worry about it, I would say much, because yes, it was a case of worry at some time. Now, for the first time, the total fertility rate of India has fallen below 2.1. 2.1 is the fertility rate where you achieve a stable population. It's going below now. And you have the demographic dividends because you have a lot of manpower available, but that also is a problem because it means you have a lot of unemployment in a country. So you cannot have a jobless growth. We have the models of our growth has to be where we create job, and infrastructure is one area which creates job. That is why you need to invest massively right now if you have to have growth with jobs. The key objectives, as I said, of Viksit Bharat is to achieve $30 trillion economy by 2047, continue to grow at 7 to 8%, have world-class infrastructure in urban and rural areas, which includes massive expansion of the highways, the high-speed railways, smart cities. We also need to have social equity inclusion, technological advancement. We missed out on semiconductors. We are going right now in the right direction. We lagged behind, but we are trying to catch up. We can't afford to have some mistakes, so we must be leader at this stage only, use artificial intelligence, robotics, and quantum computing. And talking about artificial intelligence in infrastructure right now, if I say, we are using it, we are trying to use it in a big way now. We talk about smart cities, artificial intelligence is going to be used. You talk about transport, you talk about signaling system in the transport, artificial intelligence is going to be used. I talk about my own organization, Indian Railways. Indian Railways has a lot of British culture in it, and accordingly, you see, there is one thing that we use is called keyman. Now, keyman is one person who patrols about 5 kilometers of track every day. and he sees whether everything is okay or not. Is there any rail crack? Has some? I hope there are no fittings missing. And if he detects the problem, then he reports it to the concerned authorities, who take the corrective action. But now we have moved and we are developing indigenously a model which is under trial in RDSO Lucknow, where we are using cameras and a combination of lasers and cameras, where a train would move, say 500 kilometers every day. The first train would move. It would detect all the, I would say, the flaws that were manually detected and simply report back to the authorities, who would get an SMS on their mobile that this is the flaw that has been detected in your jurisdiction and you can address that. So this way, India is doing its bit in using artificial intelligence. The environmental sustainability, well, net zero carbon we aim to achieve by 2070. This climate is a big, big thing, and every country today will, and carbon credit, I mean, this is going to become a big industry in itself. There are, you will find there are industries who are emitting carbon, but at the same time they open up an ancillary where, you know, they are doing some renewable work, and then they buy their own carbon credit. Bhutan right now, just for example mentioned, Bhutan is one of the countries which is carbon neutral as even today. Bhutan and Suriname, I think, are the only two countries. And India rightly aims to achieve its rightful position in the global leadership. Viksit Bharat is not only an abstract concept. It is a well-defined concept, quantifiable, and these are certain goals which we aim to achieve. By 2025, we aim to achieve universal electricity. 2030, we aim to achieve 50% renewable energy. 2035, we aim to achieve national high-speed rail nationwide. 2040, full transition to smart cities, and 2047, $30 trillion economy. Now, in this, what is the role of infrastructure? Infrastructure, you see, is two: physical infrastructure and social infrastructure. Physical infrastructure means roads, railways, ports, airports, energy, and then there's social infrastructure. Social infrastructure would be schools, education, health, and employment, and many other things. Now, what is the importance? Why do we need to attach some importance? I'll show you, I think, play this video. There's no sound. Well, it was working a bit back. Any problem? Leave it. So that was our Honorable Prime Minister, who was explaining in terms of ease. Infrastructure is not required just for job creation. It is required for the ease of doing business. It is required to overall improve your quality of life. Infrastructure, if we talk about where do we stand in infrastructure, if we compare these 5 countries, actually it's no point in comparing with many other countries. It's India, China, and US that matter to India today to determine where we want to go. Infrastructure spending in India is 8% as of now, and you can see that China is spending at 12%. Road network India 6.2 million. Railways is where we have not expanded much even after independence, because 63,000 route kilometers was there approximately at Indian independence in 1947. We have done doubling, we have done gauge conversion, but we have not added much of the route length, which is very, very important. The high-speed rail, well, it's just 2,500 kilometers, and this is not the real high-speed rail. We want to achieve the kind of high-speed rail which we are trying for Mumbai-Ahmedabad, the real bullet train. The electricity access, the internet penetration, and the urbanization. So yes, there is a long way that we have to go, and which is what Viksit Bharat is aimed at. Now, Viksit Bharat is aimed at this. In roadways, the roadmap is very clear. From 6.2 million, we want to go to 10 million kilometers. From railways, we want to develop 10,000. Mumbai-Ahmedabad is a very small project, and we want to expand exponentially. We want to go to 10,000 kilometers high-speed rail. We want to have 100% rail lines. This was a very nice video. Why is it not playing? Can somebody just... Excuse me. Why is it not playing? They should hear it here. लैपटॉप में साउंड दिया हुआ है आपने? आप इसको escape करके एक बार फिर से try करिए. Or you must be having this separate file, na? Play that. Leave it here if it is taking so much time. Yes, it is finally. Volume. Rajesh, leave it here. It is. We have very little time. Leave it, yeah, we don't have that much time left, leave. But this was, I'll share it with you, and you must really hear how passionate our Prime Minister was when he launched this Gati Shakti Yojana. That's a $1.3 trillion he launched and he announced it on the 75th eve of Indian independence. The airport expansion, we aim to go from 150 airports to 500 airports. Similarly, in ports and waterways, basically, in Viksit Bharat and Gati Shakti Yojana combined together talks about quantum jump in the Indian infrastructure landscape. From infrastructure, again, it's such a wide topic, we have little time, come to the urban infrastructure. Well, urban infrastructure means we are, as I said, 35% in India's population is living today in cities, which we will have to 50% by 2047. But we must aim, right now is the time we must aim to make this urban expansion a sustainable development model. Otherwise, the cities of India will become unlivable. We need to have good transport system, good roads, good sanitation, good water supply. Well, people have come from rural areas to urban areas. What? They should not be here to drink, bad water, breathe bad air, and just be stuck in the traffic jams for hours together, not have time to spend with their families. That's not what urbanization was meant to be. These cities will be very, very important because the way India is growing as a soft power, as in the services field, India's cities will contribute 70% to the Indian economy, and that's unavoidable. So we need to have a proper infrastructure, urban infrastructure planning to have sustainable cities. And we must aim to have the smart cities revolution, which is already covered in the Gati Shakti Yojana. We need to have sustainable urbanization, enhanced transport networks, the resilient urban systems, affordable housing. Housing for all is also a goal. Technological integration, social cultural infrastructure, and we need to make these cities the financial and the economic backbone. Well, certain policy initiatives that have been launched by the Government of India for the urban infrastructure, they are the Smart Cities Mission under the Gati Shakti, which focuses on the integrated urban planning, the National Urban Transport Policy. Well, the urban transport was growing, randomly, and that is why the first National Urban Transport Policy was laid out in 2006. And ultimately revised in 2014. So right now we have the National Urban Transport Policy of 2014. I'll show you 2 slides on that because we're dealing with infrastructure. Metro cities, as of now, metro railway we have in 17 cities. By 2047 we plan to have metro in 75 cities, 5,000 kilometers. Today we are having a metro approximately 1,000 kilometers. By 2047 we aim to have 5,000 kilometers of metro network. The AMRUT, the Atal mission on the rejuvenation of urban transformation, which focuses on improved water supply, the sewage and the drainage system, and ultimately housing for all. That was a 20 million affordable housing units by 2022. The National Urban Transport, again, since I said urban infrastructure, again itself is such a vast topic, we have taken just the infrastructure from the transport. And transport, we will take the subcategory of metro transport and then the subcategory of the Joka BVD Bagh project in next 30 minutes or so. The National Urban Transport Policy, again, as any policy show of India should have moves, the aim is to move people safely, provide affordable public transport system. The key objective remains sustainable mobility. Sustainable mobility means For the first time, the National Urban Transport Policy talks big on NMT. NMT means non-motorized transport, and non-motorized transport means walking and cycling. But how do you expect people to walk and cycle if you leave no space for them? I mean, if they cycle and they get hurt, I mean, nobody would cycle. Number one. Number two, it talks about last mile connectivity. You continue to make airports, you continue to make metro station. If a person takes a cycle, he needs a place to park somewhere. He cannot leave his cycles anywhere and just go on to board a metro train. So this last mile connectivity and this integrated approach is what the National Urban Transport Policy aims. The reduction in carbon footprint, very important, because transport in India is the second largest consumer of energy, I would say. So if you're consuming so much of energy, and with these traffic jams, even you're burning diesel and petrol, with the increased traffic jams, increased travel time means increased energy consumption, increased carbon footprint. Equitable transport access. The Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has launched a very important initiative. It's called Universal Accessibility, and they're called the Harmonized Guidelines. Harmonized Guidelines means if you are making a transport system, it should be accessible to everyone. Everyone means, generally we understand people with disability. Well, not only people with disability or Divyanjan, it should be accessible to the aged people. It should be accessible to women, children, pregnant women, the vulnerable groups. Everybody should be able to access that. And that is why those harmonized guidelines are today becoming an integral part of every project that is being executed. The capacity building, well, strengthen the institutions. It talks about making UMTA, that's called Urban Metropolitan Transport Authority. Then NU, this National Urban Transport Policy mandates that each city should have a Urban Metropolitan Transport Authority which should do the integral planning of the transportation of that city. So for example, if you talk about Calcutta, in Calcutta, metro is being done by railways. The road is being done by NHAI. Then there are roads which are being done by PWD. Then there are roads which are maintained by KMC. Then you talk about cycling and this non-motorized transport, and then you have this called Toto. Now some people call Toto a mess, some people call it a disaster, some people say it is very useful. The National Urban Transport Policy says that this is the way this is happening. I mean, these people have no rules, they are violating all the rules, they are indisciplined. There is bad maintenance of these, which leads to pollution. So you use them as what the transport policy calls as paratransit. That is, call them use it integral approach where you have these stations, you have your cycle stands, and use them as a last mile connectivity. Say you have to design your system such that there are dedicated areas where these totos will ply and they will be controlled or regulated. They should be not left unchecked. If yes, then you will have a problem. For example, in 2008 when I was posted in, 2006 or 8 I was in Burdwan. So from Howrah to Burdwan it was 100 kilometers. You take a local train, it would cost I think 14 rupees that day for traveling 100 kilometers. And when you get down at Burdwan station and you have to go 2 kilometers, the rickshaw wala used to charge you 20 rupees. And to get that rickshaw wala, again there was such a big mess that to get out of Burdwan station, you require 20 minutes. So this is what is becoming unchecked, and this needs to be regulated. And that is why you need to have one authority who will do this holistic planning for the city. The National Urban Transport Policy also talks about preparing a comprehensive CMP, that's the Comprehensive Mobility Plan. And that Comprehensive Mobility Plan should become a part of the CDP. The CDP is the City Development Plan. So that is how the master planning of a city should be done. A city development plan is to be prepared, and this your comprehensive mobility plan has to be prepared, and both of them are to be integrated. Again, as I said, when you talk about urban infrastructure, we have talked about transport. Now, transport itself is a big topic. You have the railways, the roads, the ports, the airports. But if you talk about within the city area, there also you have a lot of solutions. You have the bus network. Then you have which is called the BRTS, the Bus Rapid Transit System. Then you have the RRTS, Regional Rapid Transport System, which is coming up in Delhi NCR area. You have metro rails. Then you have, as I said, Toto. So then today we'll talk about only this concept called metro rail. Why metro is required? See, metro railway, if you talk about, in the National Urban Transport Policy, And then metro policy, they also made this metro policy in 2017, where they have said that, see, before implementing metro, don't you implement it mindlessly. There are various solutions to the problem. Ultimately, the problem is affordable transportation. So you have to make a scientific study, and based on, there is a concept called PPHD, which means peak passenger, this is per passenger per hour direction. In one of the number of passengers that you have to carry in one direction in the peak hour. So, for example, that if it is 10,000 to 20,000, your BRTS system is best. Your metro systems, they are the best if you are talking about PPHDT of 40 to 80,000. So do not implement metro systems, because metro systems are very capital intensive and they have a long gestation period. So once you do that study, and when you find that yes, you have selected this city for metro, then you have to do the planning as per the metro policy, which has been launched in 2017. If we talk about metro railway, well, you are in a city where the first metro was launched actually. The metro railway was, operation started in Kolkata in approximately 1984, I think. And as of now, we have 17 operational metro systems in India. We have 939, as I said, approximately 1,000 kilometers of metro network in 17 cities. India's metro network is third longest in the world right now. See, this metro, after in 1984, there was a lull. Then Delhi Metro came up. When Delhi Metro came up, it became a success story. Then this was launched in many other cities, and we have grown very fast. And we are going to overtake USA. I think within a year or two, because India is 1,000 kilometers, USA is 1,400 kilometers. But then there is a long gap between US and China. That is a journey which we have to cover. I'll show you in the future slides. Well, India's asset, these I've already told you, it is governed by National Urban Transport Policy, the Metro Policy, the MoHUA guidelines. MoHUA is Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Then again, the benchmark for cost estimation has been given by MoHUA. Well, the need of metro, I don't think I need to explain you all know. Well, there is a growing traffic congestion. The personal vehicles, well, as the living standard has increased, as the purchasing power of India has increased, there are a lot of people have bought a lot of personal vehicles, but have we constructed enough roads? If we don't, and if we, and there is a serious limitation in Kolkata, there is if you just see around, there is hardly any space to widen the roads. Delhi is one city which has a lot of wide, I would say, roads. But then Delhi, the number of vehicles in Delhi is more than Kolkata, Mumbai and Chennai combined. So I'll show you, so you have to have this system ultimately if you have to have a livable city. Metro rail, the advantage is that it requires just 20% of the energy per passenger per kilometer compared to the road-based transport system. And it's a very important. It causes little or absolutely less no noise pollution or air pollution. It's a very eco-friendly transport system. Well, it occupies no road space if it is underground, and if it is elevated, it just occupies 3 meters, the median of the road for the pillar. Otherwise, it's a grade separated, and because of this grade separation, it's very safe actually. And then, of course, a very reliable, comfortable mode of journey, and it reduces your journey time like anything. As I said, this is the metro policy of India in 2017, more or less part of the National Urban Transport Policy. But yes, there are certain good things that it talks about. For example, the mode of financing. So there are various modes. First is the most common mode would be the 50-50. So the 50-50 is where the central government and the state government bear 50-50 of the cost. Delhi Metro, an example. There are certain metros where only central government is spending the entire amount. Kolkata Metro is an example. There are certain metros where only state government is doing 100%. Jaipur Metro is an example. Then we talk about the PPP, the public-private partnership. There it is a combination of government and private. Hyderabad Metro is an example. L&T has done it. Government needs to support it, and that support, when you initially operate it, you will be at a loss, and that has to be compensated. So that is called the viability gap funding. The government does it. And the last, where it is a concessionaire can come and do it, which is very common in roads. The Gurgaon Rapid Transit System is the first project which is based on the concessionaire. A concessionaire has been selected to do that. Now, these are the main objectives of the metro policy. This is the metro policy, the ridership, phase development, technology standard, and Make in India is becoming important day by day. When Delhi Metro was launched, and one of the main reasons was it was JICA funded. All those projects which are JICA funded, Japanese International Cooperation Agency, then they have these guidelines that this much minimum 30% you have to import from us, and we are importing 30%. Normally they sell you their rolling stock. The rolling stock is generally imported. But India today has developed of manufacturing its own rigs, and we are doing that in ICF Chennai. As I was showing you, this comparison is very important for the people who are doing the metro planning and involved with execution. This is where we stand. I mean, ultimately, as I said, that the initial tables where I showed you 5 countries would be reduced to this only. These 3 countries are going to rule for next 25 years. Just see, I mean, where China has gone. I mean, we had our economic reforms, as I said, 1991. China had the Deng reforms in 1978. We were 13 years behind, but just see the scaling. I mean, USA has 1400, we are 850. It's almost 900 now. As I said, that is why India will overtake US in terms of metro network by next year or in next 2 years. But we are still far, far behind from China. China, it's already 50 plus cities. We are in 20 cities. Just see the daily ridership. We are having 50 lakhs. They are having 7 crores. Shanghai Metro, Delhi Metro is 390 kilometers, 400 kilometers, I would say. Shanghai Metro is 830 kilometers. These are the urban rapid rail transits in India and China. We have various concepts called metro, suburban, monorail, light rail transits. These are, but I've already explained, as I said, the National Urban Transport Policy tells you how to do that analysis. Based on the certain figures on the passenger, you have to select the right model for that. Now coming to the Joka BB-Debug Metro, which we'll show you. This is one of the projects that we are implementing here. So the Joka BB-Debug Metro was sanctioned in 2010-11, and yes, from project management, it's a very classic study. One must, I would say, on one hand, you will see that's a project which is badly delayed because it's 24, and we would be completing in 2028. It's not, I would say, it's one can dismiss it as inefficiency for not doing projects, but it can be a good case study to understand what has gone wrong, and accordingly we can take corrective action so that it doesn't happen in future. So finally, it is divided into 3 phases, Joka, Taratalla, Majerat. The first 2 have already been inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister himself on 2nd of January 23 and 15th of March 24. The phase 3 is what you will be visiting today. That's the Majerat Esplanade underground. So a lot of is, as I said, in the defense area. This project was sanctioned in 2010-11. And it has a lot of problems of, it's a brownfield project bordering, I would say, black field. Kolkata is one city. Well, I'll just show you the challenges. You'll understand that. Welcome to Kolkata. A bit late in welcoming you, but it's a great city, I would say, with a rich history and a great cultural heritage. The Kolkata metropolitan area today, as we see, what started a story of 3 villages 300 years back, Kolkata was made of 3 villages, Govindpur, Sutnati and Kalikata. Is today 1875 square meter of Kolkata metropolitan area. The population of the Kolkata metropolitan area is 15.57 millions. Population density of 8,300. Average India, their population density is about 380. But Kolkata city, you talk about KMC, just see the population density, 23,000. I mean, there are no, I don't need to say more. 23,000. And now, just see this. Kolkata has a road network density of 6%, while Delhi and Mumbai have a road network density of 23% and 17%. Ideally, area under transport should be approximately 15 to 18%, which is only 5.45%. So, these figures themselves tell you, and let's just see the last one. The number of registered vehicles in Kolkata was 7.6 lakhs in 2001. It has risen to 10.27 and now it's 21.8 lakhs in 2022. So the number of registered vehicles has increased 3 times. And practically the road has not increased. You can't increase, there is no way you can widen the roads in Calcutta. So what would it ultimately? Congestion, traffic jams, the speed at which the vehicle moves is just sometimes comes in a single digit, very, very unproductive and highly costly then. And that is why a very strong need was felt to have a metro network, which was after 1984 stopped for quite some time. So then this Joka Esplanade was sanctioned in 2010-11. But apart from that, in Kolkata that year, many other metro networks were also sanctioned. I'll show you. Chapter 8 of the DPR, I have selected only chapter 8 because I said I have been talking about sustainable development. So if you are talking about sustainable development, any project must do this at the starting phase itself. And now time has come where if you see any DPR of Indian project, they always have a dedicated chapter on environment. Well, initially it was sanctioned at the cost of 2619 crores, later sanctioned cost is 4835 crores, ultimately it will end up at 10,000 crores. Why such escalation? Two reasons. One, this project was actually sanctioned totally as elevated, but half, as we see this portion that we want to see today, is underground, and it became underground because this Maidan area, this defense area, the integrity of the defense area had to be protected. So there was a lot of discussion with defense authorities, and they were rightly in their perspective not agreed to have an elevated metro corridor within the Maidan area. So to protect the integrity of the Maidan area, we went underground. And also in the Maidan area, there are a lot of fully grown trees. Had it been totally elevated section, the number of trees that we would have cut would have been simply huge. By going underground, a lot of trees have been saved. This is the metro network. The blue line that you see actually, this is the original metro of Kolkata. This purple line you see is Joka to BBD Bagh. That is the project we are dealing. And this patch, I don't think it has a pointer. This is the patch. This patch is what you will be inspecting today. The green line is called the east-west line. And this is the line which has crossed Ganga. You see the blue it has crossed. So there is an underwater tunnel here. And this orange line is going from this called New Garia to a place called Airport. And ultimately you see it is forming a circle finally. It is forming a circle. And this purple line is feeding the entire South Kolkata to the existing network. And you will see one station in which we are making is called the Esplanade station. Do we have a pointer? There is a pointer here. Oh, sorry. I pressed the wrong button. Can you? What happened? Yeah, sorry. You see here, there are 3 dots. These 3 dots are actually the 3 metro stations. So here there is a junction of 3 stations. We already have 2 stations, and we are constructing the 3rd station. And this would become the Rajiv Chowk of Delhi. So we are talking about one of the major things which National Urban Transport Policy spoke about was multimodal connectivity. That is a place where you have all kinds of modes. That is your railway station. If you see to Anand Vihar, the Anand Vihar terminal of Delhi, that is a multimodal connectivity. Because you have a railway station, you have a metro station, you have a bus stand, then you have the RRTS that has also come up. So this is also something similar because apart from these 3 stations, they are going to be interconnected, and there is a bus stand here. And then in the Ganga, there is waterways. So Kolkata can plan, or rather they may be planning, of a water metro here, and ultimately this whole system gets connected and becomes the first multimodal connectivity of Kolkata. About the project that I'm talking about, I'll not bore you with the technical details, but I'll tell you what is relevant for you is as I said, the environmental impact assessment. What are the positive environmental and social benefits of any metro project? It generates a lot of employment opportunities. It is a benefit to the economy because the goods, people and services move quickly. It's a very safer way of transportation. less fuel consumption, less air pollution, and carbon credit. And these three last things that I've said, they are not just abstract things, they are very well quantified. For example, once the DPR was done by RITES. RITES is a very renowned agency, and it has projected that by 2035, this would lead to saving of 17 million liters of diesel and 1.16 million liters of petrol. And this saving is because it estimates that around 34,000 vehicles are expected to be taken off once this metro network becomes operational. The ridership is approximately 5 lakhs, and ultimately it may rise to 7.66 lakhs by 2035. It also says that the project is going to lead a saving of 1 lakh tons of carbon dioxide emission. The metro rakes, the new metro rakes that have come are 3-phase AC rakes, and they have this advantage of what is called regenerative braking. So when the metro is traveling and you apply brakes, so with brakes that energy is again transmitted and fed back into the system. So that leads to approximately 30% of energy saving, which translates to carbon credit. And it's not, I've not quantified it here, but in this project about 9,000 is the carbon credit per year that you save, and ultimately it was quantified to 5 crore rupees per year. That is what the carbon credit this project would give. And Delhi Metro is already getting a lot of carbon credit now. Well, it is also important to talk about negative environmental impacts of any project, because only when you speak about them, you can also address them. Any project always has this, may have the disadvantages of projecting affecting people, but in metro it is very, very less, because we go along the median of the road. So there are hardly any people who have been displaced. Change of land use, no, we have been using only the road, and we have gone underground, so we have not changed the land use also. Loss of forested trees, yes, there are approximately 1,000 trees that are involved here, which we will show you in the model room what we have done about them. The utility and the drainage problem, once the construction goes, the utility and the drainage of the city gets disturbed. Calcutta was planned as an underground city. If you are doing this, I find that there are approximately 2 to 3 underground tunnels that are running. I mean, they were made at that time that electricity, gas, etc., all this would be totally underground. And over time, they have been forgotten by everyone, including KMC. Nobody has their maps now. But it was a beautifully planned underground city, and that is why, and since it's an old city, the moment you cut a road, you will have huge number of cables, CSC, the electricity cables, the BSNL cables, the water pipeline themselves are minimum 10 to 12, the drainage. So doing your work is very difficult actually. You have to shift these utilities, and the drainage is taken care because we simply do this joint inspection with the local authorities, transfer the fund to the local authorities so that they can have their drainage system ready before the metro is made operational. This is the kind of saving we have in terms of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrocarbon, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. All this is quantified. Transplantation of trees. This is one major initiative we have taken. Earlier, what we used to do was that we would cut the trees, but in this case, what we are doing is that we are transplanting 100% of the trees. So the rule says that you have to, for every tree that you wish to, for every tree or you wish to cut, you have to plant 5 number of trees. We are doing that. So we are planting 5 number of new trees. But apart from that, each tree that is in the Maidan, we are taking it and replanting it again also. So even if we have a success rate of say 30 to 40%, apart from why we plant 5 number of trees, I'll give you a scientific reason is that the probability of survival of a new planted tree is 20%. So that is why government mandates that you should do 5 trees so that at least one of them will survive fully. But apart from that, we are doing 100% transplantation also. And we, for this, 3 levels of permission is required. We take a permission from the local military authority because we are doing it in the defense area. Then we take permission from the Kolkata Municipal Corporation because they are the local body here. And finally, we have taken the permission from the forest department also. Now, as somebody would ask the challenge here, I will deal it separately once in the slide. I may take, I think, 10 more minutes than what I have been allotted. Well, Eastern and for develop, and many people say that we are destroying the green lung, which is Maidan. But I would say we have allotted, various agencies, RVNL, Eastern Railway, KMC, Kolkata Municipal Corporation and Kolkata Port Trust, now called the Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port Trust. They have come together to provide 14 acres of land in the heart of city itself, where this entire plantation and transplantation is doing. So on one hand, while we may be cutting certain trees, transplanting them rather, we are also creating a green lung in the city as a part of the metro project. This is one take you can take from my project. This is how it is, transplantation is going, but I will show more of it is a video in the model room which will show you, and you'll be able to better appreciate it. This is the photographs of the newly planted trees in Joka Depot. Each tree is protected by a gabion. There is a watering system. So as I said, with more care, as they say, 20% is if you, with a normal care, and if you give much more care, which we are trying, maybe we will be able to save 80% of these trees. And this is the photograph of the transplanted tree. This was a tree which has been uprooted and planted 15 kilometers or 10 kilometers away from it. And some of them are, you can see they're still green and they're surviving actually. And this is the geotag photos. So when we, these trees also, these trees also when they are planted, geotag photo of each tree is uploaded on the website of the Forest Department, so that you can later on check whether that tree was there or not. And Forest Department officials do check it regularly. Talking about the challenges, I'll take 10 more minutes to talk about the challenges in my project. I've divided this into mainly 4 challenges that we have faced. Well, one of the innovative stations that we have done is the Majerat station. This is a photograph which a normal station would look like. The metro is coming in the median of the road and a station has been constructed. But Majerat station was different. This is the newly constructed Majerat station, and we have arranged a 10 to 15 minute visit also of yours in this station, so that you can appreciate the kind of difficulty we faced. So you see here, see this one. So this is the newly constructed Majerat station, and this is an existing Majerat railway station. So this is the traditional railway. It is the Sialda division of Eastern Railway, and the metro station is over the railway yard itself. So here what was, we had 3 choices. We could have done, say, option A, B and C. Option B and C were the easier ones because you are not constructing over the railway yard. But you see, having the benefit of option A is that you will have the connectivity between the railway and the metro. So a person who is traveling by metro can come down, and there is a foot over bridge, as you can see, which is landing directly on the platform of the railway. So from the metro system, one can simply walk down to the metro and take a local train, and vice versa also. And there is a very nearby bus stand also. So the bus is, if you get down by a bus, you can walk, take the metro or the local. So this is a kind of a small model of the multimodal connectivity that we have done here. And to do this, well, you can understand a lot of design was going, because there are trains running and you have to do the construction over a railway yard. So doing construction when the trains are running itself, as you would appreciate, a very, very challenging job. But we did it successfully, and this is how it was done. You can see these are railway tracks, and between the 2 tracks, this entire piling work and all this shuttering, etc., was being placed, and this has been cast. This is the photos of during construction. This is how these girders, as you would say, the number of blocks, and this is an electrified line, 25 kV electrified line. So a lot of precautions were taken while launching these girders, but finally we get a great satisfaction when we see the slide. Majerat is the country's sole metro station above railway track and platforms. And as we said, once you are planning for 75 cities metro network by 2047, then you will face this problem in many more cities also, because railway stations were the harbingers of development. When the railway station was there, that is how when in an area developed. So this model can be used in those areas also. The Joka PPT Bagh metro construction, I've already explained these things. Now this is the underground. We have already reached here. This is the Majerat. We have commissioned it, and as you can see, this alignment, this is the underground alignment, and that is almost a defense area that we can see, which you will also see during the inspection. So now in the underground alignment, we see these things like this Khidirpur, etc. You see these are the stations. These are underground stations, and we have this This is the tunnel. This tunnel will be done by the tunnel boring machine. So you will be going to a place called launching shaft. So launching shaft is a place where you construct certain things and you lower the TBM, the tunnel boring machine. The tunnel boring machine is approximately a 90 meter long machine weighing about 300 tons. So that is, I'm sure you all have seen in the video that you must have visited some other site also. We will show you the launching shaft today. So in this project, our machine is from Heron Connect factory, Heron Connect, which is a Germany-based firm, but it has a factory in Chennai, and as I said, we have a 50% Make in India clause. So they can only make certain key components there, but the entire assembly is being done in Chennai. And the this is called the factory acceptance test, is scheduled on January 7th and 8th, and after that we expect to lower the TBM here in the month of February and continue with our tunneling. But today you will be able to see how these stations are not done by TBM, they're done by a method called cut and cover, which will be demonstrated to you live at Victoria Station. Why are metro projects difficult? Because this, and I could fit only these many, there are many more circles actually. You have to do licensing. This is the crux of project management. This is what makes it. You have to liaison with so many authorities at the same time. You have to bring so many stakeholders on board. Well, forest department for trees, KMC for utilities, police, we have traffic diversions, defense, we are doing in the defense area, the Archaeological Survey of India because there are certain heritage monuments nearby, the PWD because they also own certain assets, Nepal consulate is because we are passing, we require certain land from Nepal consulate. So if they have this consulate is a part of the embassy and that's a sovereign land. So when you require that, you really can't acquire also. So you have to just negotiate with them. Court cases, very common in India and more so common in Calcutta. And they take their own sweet time. You have to do the acquisition of private buildings. And yes, this is the difference of India and China. We do everything democratically, building consensus. It does take some time, but ultimately I believe it's the best approach. The major challenges you want to, for this project have been land acquisition. Land acquisition, there was a lot of land acquisition, but the three cases that stand out were the CMRI hospital, the Consulate General of Nepal and Kolkata Police land. The environmental issues I think I've already discussed, the heritage structure and the BC Roy market. The CMRI is a hospital, so we required certain land from them. Now they come to us and say, and they go to the court and they say, see, we have a hospital, and yes, it's a Birla hospital, a renowned hospital, and we are afraid that once they construct this metro, so during construction, there will be a lot of vibrations, and we are doing very surgical operations, and some operation may go wrong, we may cut the wrong nerve, so how can we give this land to them? So then you have to counter them technically. We got those vibration analysis done, and it could have been sorted out of court also, but ultimately it was sorted through court. We submitted the vibration and the noise analysis and convinced them that how we would be taking care of this vibration thing, so that these vibrations, and they are measured actually. Today everything is technical. You can measure the vibrations and you can measure the noise also, and then tell them that these are the precautions we'll be taking so that your hospital remains safe. Consulate General of Nepal, it took time. It took approximately 1 year to convince them. And if it is a court case, there's nothing you can do. Consulate General of Nepal, as I said, it's a sovereign land. So I will show you what is the problem here. Finally, they agreed that you give us this piece of land, then only we will give you our land. So you have to acquire from that, you have to acquire that land. When we went to acquire that land, the person says, you are acquiring me not for the metro purpose, but we're giving it to somebody else. So he also went to the court. So that court case is also going on, and the judgment is expected shortly. The Kolkata police land is another story. We expect to sort it out soon. The BC Roy market is an interesting story. I'll show you now. This is how it is. This is the Consulate General of Nepal. They wanted this piece of land. Now this gentleman was ready to give the piece of land, but then he had 5 tenants who were there for 3 generations. These tenants have gone to the court. And police story I'll skip. Maybe I can talk to you informally. This is an interesting thing. BC Roy market. It's on the defense land only. So we had a lot of discussions with defense people. It's an unauthorized market constructed somewhere in 1956 over the defense land. Now, who is the owner of this market? No one. Which ministry deals with it? PWD. How many shops are there? Nothing is, you have certain records, but not pakka. So our underground metro station has to come beneath it. So naturally, they have to be relocated. Where state government says we will not relocate them. So we have to do something. The Ministry of Defense says they are unauthorized. We can't do anything. You just take them, state government. You talk to the state government, and then you just shift them wherever you want to. So you're on a fix because it's a tripartite solution. Everybody is passing the work, and there is no solution. And this is the Rand station, which is the third station. And if it doesn't come up, you don't get the multimodal connectivity. So what did we do? A lot of brainstorming. We gave a suggestion that, see, ultimately one solution I know that BC Raw market will not be shifted. The only outcome can be that the Esplanade station doesn't get constructed. So that is one outcome. So yes, at one point of time, we did think that we will terminate the metro at one station ahead. We will simply not construct it. But that would have not been the ideal solution. So this, you see, this whole thing is the Esplanade station, ABC. This is in the central. So this is 300 meter length, and that BC Raw market is approximately 100 meter length, which is situated in the middle. So we came up with a technical and innovative solution. We said that we will make a temporary market at this called area A, which we had under control. So we'll make a prefabricated temporary market, which is for 5 years. We will first shift this BC Raw market to a temporary market here. We will make a curtain wall and do the construction of the station in two parts. So we will construct this part of the station entirely. Then we will again reshift and again bring back status quo. We will construct back the market the way it is today and then construct this part of the station. So by this, what happens is status quo remains. Your market remains where it is today, but the underground metro is constructed. When this solution was proposed, finally PWD was more than happy. Yes, MOD had a lot of reservations because it was a golden opportunity to get rid of BC Raw market, but they'll have to bear with it for some more time. But ultimately, yes, overall with consensus, and we are very thankful to GOC Bengal's area who blessed us with his guidance, and ultimately they helped us in getting the clearance from MOD. And finally, this construction of this temporary BC Raw market is in progress, and we expect to complete that, say, first shifting by February or March this year. This is the only way this could have been done. For 10 years, the BC Raw market problem was going on. There was no solution. This problem was discussed from 2010-11, ever since I was new to the service. In India, when there is so much of dialogue, this is one of the ways, innovative technical ways you'll have to deal with the problems. This is how this market is being constructed. It would be injustice if I do not talk about the TBM, which is the most technical aspect. So, but I'll not bore with your details, just give you an overview. These are the various kind of tunnel boring machines that are available worldwide. So, we are using the top right, EPB, that is called the earth pressure balancing, that is used in the soft soils. This is all you can take away from this slide. This is how our metro, this is the number 1410A of the machines, because we will be using two machines. There are two tracks, so there will be two tunnels in parallel. So there is we lower one machine, it moves, and the second machine is lowered after 2 months and then starts moving. So there is always a lag between these two machines. So once they do this drilling, the tunnel that they make will be 5.8 meter, that is diameter tunnel is what is finished by these machines. This shows the vertical profile of the tunnel, how it would be drilled. Certain features that the maximum overburden is 17 meters and the minimum overburden would be 7 meters. And this is determined, we can leave it to the experts. This is determined using a lot of factors. So this is the tunnel boring machine, the cutting shield, the front cutting shield, what it moves and when it moves, how it cuts and how the muck is transported back. This we will try to show you in the model room also. There is a live model of the tunnel boring machine there. Good works that have been done in this project is the tree transplantation. The video I have explained in detail. The video will show in the model room. We do this building condition survey, instrumentation monitoring. This is very, very important because these instruments are like our engineer's stethoscope. With use these instruments, we monitor the health of the building. during the construction, because once you are doing the underground tunnel boring machine, there are a lot of vibrations here, and you have to keep track of the cracks or the potential deformations in the buildings so that they are not affected. And there is a RO and chiller plant. There was a reason I mentioned it. So this is called the building condition survey. So with every activity, there is something called the influence zone. For TBM, it's called 75 meters. So you have to, with the radius, within 75 meters, you have to make an initial state assessment of the buildings before you start your TBM. And you have to document the health of those buildings as to how many cracks were there, what was the width of the crack, what was the length of the crack, what is the overall health condition of that building, and so that once your TBM operations continue, then you can monitor as to whether there are crack meters and various other instruments, whether that crack is widening, whether it is increasing, whether there is progressive deformation, and based on that you can take the corrective action. This is all you need to take from this slide. That is all. Baki everything is technical. But yes, the challenges which are faced in urban infra construction is, you see, we are working very close to the Consulate General of Nepal, St. Stephen's Church, and these are very, very old and religious buildings. So a lot of care has to be taken to protect them. It's not a greenfield project. The turf view, this is the residential tower of defense personnel here. So we will be going right under them. The flyovers, the Victoria Memorial is very, very close. As I said, we are reconstructing the Victoria Station. This Manohar Das Tarag is a pond. The 4 kiosks are actually classified as a heritage structure by the KMC. Asiatic Society is a heritage structure under the ASI, the Archaeological Survey of India. So there is a certain procedure by which you have to do the assessment, then obtain the clearance from SAR before you can do a certain amount of work. And this is what are these are the challenges which you have to overcome by technical means. So this is how the stage assessment of building condition survey looks like. This is the kind of table that is prepared. These are the instruments. Now these instruments are here shown in the photographs, and they will be you will be able to show them in the model room. This is the crack meter. This is the inclinometer. You'll be able to see them live in the model room. And based on these studies, there is something called as AAA values. They are called the alert, action, alarm levels. So once you are measuring them, you compare with these, and then you have to then you decide as to whether your structure has reached to an alert level or an action you require to take some certain action, or it is alarming. And this is, as I said, in CMRI case, this is how noise and vibration monitoring is done. These are the reports. You can only see that yes, there is some way to do the noise and vibration. That is all. These are various innovative techniques which you go to the casting yard, they'll show you that instead of cutting rod, etc., now you have this facility of where you can bring this factory cut, pre-cut bend and bars. So this really expedites your process. This is for making of the tunnel segments. You have a proper RO plant and a chiller plant in the concrete batching plant, so that these days we are talking about very, very high strength grade of concretes. M50, well, and recently, just for your information, the concrete is being produced up to 150 megapascals also in India today. And in Bombay, this has been normally, I'm sure you know what concrete is. Normally in buildings, we're using M30, M40. Ultratech has recently done this pilot project. They have renovated one building in Aditya Birla Fashion building in, I think, Worli. In somewhere, I'm forgetting the name, Worli, I think it was, where they've done it using 150 megapascal. It's a showcase project. MORTH, Ministry of Road and Transport and Highways, they have various pilot projects where they are using actually long girders, where they are using this 150 megapascal concrete. So, and they are talking about 200 megapascal. So, strength of concrete achieving, almost reaching that of steel. This is how the batching plant and this is the casting yard. These are the segments actually. This is this. And when they are joined to make one ring, and the TBM places these rings one after another, and this is how the construction of a tunnel is done. These are the site laboratories which are used for quality control exercise. This you will see in the field. This is how machines and wall of the stations is being done. This is, I will not explain you here. This you will be shown in the Majerat station. It's called the BMS. It's a building management system, intelligent way of monitoring your buildings and managing your buildings. So there is a computer, there is a server, and with this computer you will know how many water tanks are there, what is the level of water in your water tanks, how many ACs are working, how many lifts are working, how many escalators are working. You can control them using your computer there. So this we'll show you live at Majerhat. Mr. Das is here. He will show you. Yes, he will show you there. So he will explain you. There's no point explaining you on the slides here. This he will show you live at Majerhat. And this is what we are doing. This is called CBTC system. So advanced signaling system and approach to going to the cabless, with driverless cab. So this is called communication-based train control system. So communication means the two trains, there is a place, you have a control room and there are two trains. So this train relays its position to the control room relays it to the another train. So it's, technically it's called the moving block section. So these trains, once they come within, say, a specified distance, automatic braking is done. So this will ultimately lead to a driverless train. So this also we hope, if possible, we'll be able to show you something during your visit. Thank you. I think I've taken 15 minutes more, but we'll make up during the visit. And I hope you were served with tea or coffee. If not, please do that. Yes. And if you want to ask something, you may please. Thank you. Thank you then. Yeah, please. You want a mic? Yes, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The CEO, respected CEO, the Chief CMD, and other dignitaries who are present here, and our friends from Turkey. We are from College of Defense Management,